It is July 1937, and the Soviet Army, Air Force, and Navy have begun to slow down their maneuverings as each unit has now found their positions from which to train up for any future conflict. Things are looking quite well for the Soviets, all things told. They received a little bit of a boost to their military industry and now are quite sizable in their income production, matching that of Italians in their income production, which is quite nice for the Soviets, doing quite well for themselves. They have a few bastions of strength in Leningrad and Kiev, in Oral-Kursk mobile force, and down south in Transcaucasus. A strong force there with the anticipation of spreading communism to parts abroad. In the Far East, we have the Japanese threatening aggression against Soviet border regions, but with the Soviets just out of range of their forces, things might be slow here, while Japan might turn its attention to other parts. And they could threaten the coastline of China with a few tasty morsels here and there, with a sizable, with let's say one or two amphibious assaults that could bump up their income quite sizably. But perhaps it is a little ways away yet, as there are only 4 Marines and a handful of infantry divisions to threaten the entirety of the coast. They probably won't get too greedy in their efforts. The CCP have a few territories now to their name and are surpassing the KMT in sheer amount of territories and perhaps in regards to units as well, yet they are still quite weak in face of the KMT forces, although they are doing decently well for them. They can't produce as many units, I believe, as their income is still just a little bit shy of what the KMT has to offer, and the KMT now with a fairly aggressive force of cavalry can attack both Szechwan and Hope and take them out of CCP hands. And if Hope falls, then perhaps Biping as well. But that's disregarding what the Japanese could throw at any coastline ventures that the CCP or Chinese KMT forces will have. Things are developing in an interesting direction over here. Japan, for its part, maneuvering, establishing dominance in its regions, establishing its marines, building up its factory with the anticipation of future attacks. Things are looking quite interesting, and having built a transport plane, now could potentially threaten some of the interior sections of our Chinese state. We have Calcutta is being stacked up with forces, with Gurkhas showing up, and a reasonable size force present here. 6 infantry, with a couple more potential coming in as well, holding out Calcutta from any potential Japanese attacks. It looks to be that both Hong Kong and Burma seem to be relatively abandoned by the Allied forces in this, which is perhaps not a bad play. Sydney, for its part, is looking quite weak as well, although the action is quite far away at this time, so we'll have to see how that pans out. Italy has built up its militia forces into strong infantry units and now forms quite a decent defensive unit over here in East Africa. We'll see how that plays out. The English aren't quite fortifying Cairo just yet, and I wonder what the play is in regards to this situation. And Germany is building up its forces, capturing Bohemia, annexing it, and now stacks its troops along its borders, both in East Germany as well as West. And lastly, we have France, doing quite well for itself with a sizable amount of forces, doing who knows what at this point, but defense is primarily on the mind with the idea of storm clouds in the east. But most interesting to all parties involved, as far as I'm concerned, is the Spanish Civil War. The Republicans have now gained the popular support of the people, and General Franco has withdrawn to Galicia and Leon with his army. Although still quite a sizable army, things are looking quite good for the Republicans, as now they can snap up 2 territories and perhaps sway the population even further to the cause of the Republicans. Hello everybody, my name is Jinx, and we are playing our turn number 3 of Operation Montagnard, I believe. Montagnard. My apologies. I'll get that hammered out eventually. But all right, let's get started with our turn. First of all, a little housekeeping. I needed to bump my income up to 10 because I rolled a 6 last turn and my income increased, so that's quite fun. And now we have some tech dice to roll. So let me think. Oh, yeah, I was going to roll 4. Improved. Here we go. My hope is to go all the way up to here, but let's keep this down here. Let's roll for improved construction, because that's our T34s. And we can get as far as here, and we have 3 dice rolls to do. So let's go and start that off. A 4 is a miss. Here's another go. A 5 is a miss. And number 3, a 12 is a hit. So we managed to bump this one up 1 space. That's quite nice. All right. Now we go to our purchases. With purchases, we have $5 to spend as a CCP. We got a militia and an infantry. And the Soviets get $10. So we're going to go for a fighter for the Republicans. So that's $10 right there. So we want to try to win that war, if at all possible. Okay, turning our attention first to the CCP. No aggression is planned just yet. We're going to send these guys down in a non-combat move here. We're not spending any resources on an influence roll. We're going to attempt to influence Sikang here. So we need a 2 or less. A 9 is a miss. So that's a miss on Sikang. All right, and I think their turn ends with just a recruitment roll. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or less. That's less than 50% chance, and we missed on that one. So quite bad overall. Let's turn our attention to putting our units on the board. So quite a bad turn this turn. Although last turn we did quite well for ourselves, aligning one warlord on turn 1, the second warlord on turn. I miss here. I think we missed on our recruitment roll on turn. I can't remember what we did. Anyways, we're going to put an infantry in Hopei and a militia over here in Biping. Just to, that there's not just a simple walk-on that they have to send a few more dudes into the mix. That's the rough idea. All right, turning to what we have here for the Russians. They're going to move some fellas from Yakutsk to Irkutsk. We're going to rail a few units, one from Kiev and one from Smolensk, and they're going to come across to Buryatia over here. I'm a bit of a strong position. With the Japanese forces here, we want to have a little bit of a presence on our side as well. Some fellows are going to move from North Caucasus down south to Transcaucasus. And then this cavalry is going to come from Ural Kursk down to North Caucasia. And that basically concludes our movements here. These guys, except for the Navy, they're going to move this guy off the coast of India from I-42 to the Gulf of Aden. And that takes care of them. I guess we forgot to do these moves, but there's no combat occurring. Just a walk on from East Andalusia to West Andalusia. I'll delete that. And Basque Country captured as well. And I'll grab a token here. All right. And then everything just moves into Madrid, including this aircraft. This anti-aircraft gun. This big old anti-aircraft gun. All right. And I believe that's everything for us. Good. Okay, putting our units on the board here, which is going to be one Republican fighter over here. And now we do a recruitment roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 or less. Let's see if our luck gets it better this turn. 8. Perfect. Right on. So we're going to get an infantry and put it in Madrid. So these guys did decently well this turn. The CCP did quite badly this turn, and everyone else was kind of moderate. The Soviets did do well on their rolls. But you know what? We can't have good rolls each and every turn, so I'm pretty happy with how things have panned out. All right, that takes care of that. Let's delete all our lines on maps. And that concludes the Soviet third turn. Thank you all for watching. Cheers.